Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
It's 6:37 on the Morning Majority, and KT McFarland is with us, Fox News national security analyst and the host of FoxNews.com's DEFCON 3. You can watch that Wednesdays at 2 online. How's it going, KT?
Great, thank you.
Let me ask you about the top story of the day. Kim Jong Il has passed away. Kim Jong Un or Un?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un, his son, supposed to be the successor. The Korean news service assures me that he's another great person produced by Korea who is identical to Kim Jong Il. What does the situation look like?
He's the third generation of the Kim dynasty to take charge. And if the way his father consolidated his power is any indication, there's going to be a rocky period for a couple of years. Kim Jong-un, number 3, he's the number 3 son, by the way, of the Kim who just died, and he's in his late 20s. He's young, he has no military experience, he's thought to be ruthless. He looks a lot like his grandfather, who was the founder of the communist state of North Korea. But the question that I think there are 3 potential problems here. One, he was designated as the heir about a year ago. He's not had a lot of time to train for the job. His father became ill sort of ahead of time and suddenly, and so now Kim Jong-un is thrust into the leadership position. But, again, he's young, he's inexperienced. He's going to need to show he's got what it takes to take over the reins from his father in a country where for the 50 years of its existence it's been military first. The military, the generals, they run every aspect of the country. There's no political parties, there's no independent judiciary, there's no business community, it's the military. So he's got to show that he's got what it takes, and that means he might be a little aggressive. So a year ago, when North Korea sank a South Korean ship, they shelled an island, the South Koreans didn't respond. They didn't retaliate. And as a result, the South Korean president came under enormous criticism. So if there is a provocation, that South Korean president's unlikely to stand by and turn the other cheek. And the thing that always has worried me about the Koreas, including when I wrote a report about the Koreas 30 years ago at the Rand Corporation, it's the most isolated country in the world. They're likely to miscalculate. They're likely to read the situation wrong. And we're likely to read them wrong because we, again, don't know a lot about them. So my worry is if North Korea provokes a military incident because the new guy wants to show he's got what it takes, the South Koreans respond, you could quickly have an escalation. So why do we care? We have a mutual defense treaty with South Korea. We've got some 35,000 troops sitting on that border as a tripwire. And the South Korean capital is only an hour's drive from the border. This is if there is a crisis, it could quickly escalate, and it would draw us in.
Where was Kim Jong-un educated? Has he been outside of the country?
It's rumored that, and again, nobody knows much about these guys. It's rumored that he has studied abroad and studied in Europe. But don't by any means think that that's going to make him a pro-Western guy. And one thing I learned working for Reagan and working for Henry Kissinger, probably the greatest negotiator of all time, is that weak leaders don't negotiate. Somebody who's just trying to stay in power is not in a strong enough position to take some bold moves. So some people who have said, well, he's young, he's been educated in the West, maybe he's going to liberalize North Korea. I don't think so.
We hear that the entire region has sort of gone into high alert. The United States, President Obama, has been consulting with leaders in South Korea and in Japan. What should our response be to sort of let the North Koreans know we're not to be trifled with, don't be pulling any funny stuff?
I think that our best diplomatic move right now is to talk to the Chinese and to make sure that the Chinese are, I'm sure they do know, but to reassure them and to underscore the point that we have a treaty with South Korea, we can't stand idly by, and how can we help the Chinese keep this situation under control? How can we help the South Koreans keep this situation under control? Because China holds a lot of cards in this game. North Korea can't feed itself. It doesn't have fuel oil. It doesn't have transportation fuels. They need to import everything, and they need to get it for free. And they get it for free from China. China provides some 75-80% of their food, their fuel oil, their heating oil. So the Chinese will have an ability to influence this event. But something else to be concerned about, what does North Korea have that the world might want? Very little. In fact, nothing except missiles and nuclear know-how and, in some cases, enriched uranium. Is that something that the new leader might decide he can make a market in, get some money, and then turn around and give it to his people in order to win their support. I mean, there's just so many unknowns. I don't want to speculate, but I think this is a situation that is tense, and it could quickly get out of control.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there any chance that the military doesn't like Kim Jong Un and decides to say...
Big chance.
Okay.
So why do they need this 20-something kid? The military unit in North Korea has been remarkably the same for generations and decades. So there's a military committee. When Kim Jong Un was designated as the heir apparent a year ago, this is a guy with no military experience, he was named a general in the North Korean Army. He's got an aunt and an uncle who are also on the military committee. As long as the military decides this is the guy they want, even if they leave him there and kind of control things and pull the strings of the puppet, then everything is likely to be pretty secure. But if any one of these generals decides, we've had enough of the Kims, my turn, then you could see an internal problem. Now, why is that a big problem? Internal chaos in a country that's on the brink of starving and freezing to death is not a good thing because it creates refugees. Where do refugees go? They try to go to South Korea. They try to go to China. Neither place wants them.
Václav Havel also passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
You were there during fighting of the Cold War. You watched dissidents
like Cold War.
Right. And any thoughts on him?
Yeah, history is inevitable in some ways, but it also takes great leaders. At the time, in the early 1980s, before the Iron Curtain came down, I spoke with a Czech diplomat, an ambassador, and I said to him, do you think that reform is ever going to come? And he said, what year did Columbus discover America? I said, everybody knows that, 1492. He said, what if it had been 1498? Would it have made a difference? And I said, well, probably not. And he said, that's what's happening to my part of the world. It may be 1492, it may be 1498, but it is inevitable that reform will come to Eastern Europe. And the footnote of that is, but it will come more quickly if we have the right leaders. And Václav Havel was that man.
And who would have guessed that such a revolution could be led by a playwright?
A playwright or a dock worker in Poland.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Katie.
And also the fact that both of those have been put in prison, particularly Václav Havel.
Yeah.
Great to have you on. We appreciate you getting up early for us on a Monday morning.
Hey, guys, I was already up.
Yeah, we figured.
Well, we just kind of feel like he wanted to do it for us more than Fox, but,
we understand.
We'll leave it there.
Thanks, guys.